this very special recipient was the first woman to have her own daily radio show on BBC Radio 2, which she presented continuously for 13 years. She was one of the first female broadcasters to host her own chat show with the highly successful Sunday Sunday. She won many prestigious awards during her 30-year career, including TV Personality of the Year. The Best Dressed Female. She is a patron of a number of charities and dedicates much of her time to all causes. She supports everybody, and everybody loves her. Ladies and gentlemen, please, it's Gloria Hunniford.
3 weeks ago, last Tuesday, I left my home in Cork to find my Uncle Patrick Kelly living in New York. I landed at Port Gorgon and started right away to find my uncle's residence located on Broadway. I borrowed a directory, his address for to find. I found so many Kellys there, I nearly lost my mind.
Thank you so much. The record you just heard, I've been trying to bury for about the last 30 years. There's a bit of a story about that because I decided when I was living and working at the BBC in Belfast that I should really make an album. And it cost me £100 to make the album, and that included all the musicians. I had to pay for everything. And to my horror, I discovered a couple of years ago that some Canadian catalogue had bought it. So obviously, the team have managed to find it tonight. So don't bother to ask for it in the foyer. It is not available. But that's my only Irish record. I kind of feel that so much has been said tonight, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me rattling on, but I do want to say how very, very touched I am and humble I do feel. Everybody's used that word humble, but it's a very good word because there are so many people in this room who do real things worldwide, things that have real value, wonderful things for people, and as we said before, keep people alive and help them on a daily basis. What we do is pure enjoyment, and I have enjoyed so much sitting down there tonight. In a way, watching my life go by, because I want to confirm that I am Frank Carson's love child. I want you to know that. And £100 seems to crop up a bit tonight because if it cost me £100 to make my album, including the arrangements and the musicians, I used to do with a stopwatch as a production assistant in Ulster Television behind the scenes long before I was ever up front, as it were. And Frank Carson used to do a program called Come On In. And Frank's money has gone up a lot. The entire budget for that program was £100 because I used to do the contract every week. But the best thing about Frank was that he had a pub up the Falls Road and we could go there on a Sunday when everything else was shut. So we had a great time behind closed doors there. And of course, it's just great. Jimmy, of course, mentioned that he did his first radio program in Northern Ireland and in Belfast. And that was great. He even brought the welly boots. And Brendan as well. I think maybe up north I did one of Brendan's first broadcasts as well. But it's just been great to watch everybody go through. And there are those who say that awards don't matter. Let me tell you something. Those people are the people who never get awards because they do matter. They are very special. And I treasure this a lot, and I want to thank, first of all of you. There's been a lot of thanks on stage tonight, but really, if you didn't come and support this event and support the Variety Club, where would we all be? So thank you very much for everything you've given tonight. Thank you. The Variety Club, as you know, is the most wonderful organisation, and this radio station does a fantastic job. So my thanks go to the listeners of the station, the people who voted, and of course to the children who will benefit from the money raised tonight through the Variety Club. And Keith was speaking very passionately there about his children, his child, and ultimately the children that he's been able to help. As Frank very kindly mentioned earlier on, my lovely Karen, whom Frank knew very well, of course, and she was very much part of that whole time in Ireland. And Keith is right in that when you face adversity, the one thing I think you have to do is to really take that on board. And in our case, when we were faced with the black hole, as it were, which still is there, by the way. It never goes away. You just have to live in and around it and try to put some kind of semblance of life back together again. But what we have done, which is to set up a foundation in Karen's name, it means that just as Keith has been able to be constructive in what he's achieved, I feel that against that adversity, against that black hole, that we've been able to take Karen's spirit forward and to keep that spirit alive. Somebody said to me in a letter once, an Irish person actually, said, remember that Karen's soul is bigger than death, and death is never the end. And so we feel that through the foundation, and we also work with the Variety Club in that there's an award in Karen's name, which goes to new talent. So it's all linked up, it's all family. But at least we feel that we carry her forward. And when we were in Australia, she used to talk a lot about going back to Ireland and just being there. So she's here. Thank you very much.